I think in the beginning, you're scared to set boundaries because you think this could all go away. And then the power of building success is having a schedule, using time blocking, and making your non-negotiables. And it gets easier. Use a calendar and block your time out and make sure you're enjoying your life. Because I can tell you, I was grinding and I was missing out on important things. And now I'm in a position and have enough maturity to go, that's not my life I want to live anymore. And this is how I'm going to set my life up for success and to make sure I'm taking care of the people and making memories and enjoying life and still having a thriving business.
Welcome to the MegaTeam Mastermind Podcast. I'm your host, John Tiller. In each episode, we have dynamic conversations with industry powerhouses, MegaTeam leaders, coaches, and other thought leaders who are shaping the future of real estate teams. This podcast is brought to you by MegaTeamMentor.com, where you can get a free detailed assessment of your real estate team's health, including a free customized scorecard that will quickly and objectively diagnose the strengths and weaknesses of your real estate team business. Now, let's get started on the journey of growth, impact, and legacy building with today's episode. Welcome back to the MegaTeam Mastermind Podcast, where we interview successful real estate MegaTeam leaders who will inspire you by sharing real-world stories of success and failure, building profitable real estate teams that both make an impact and leave a legacy. I'm your host, John Tiller, and today I am super excited because we have joining us Lindsey Harn, the founder of the Lindsey Harn Group, with Christie's International out of San Luis Obispo, California, which I worked really hard to get that right, but I might have gotten it wrong, Lindsey. What do you think?
You knocked it out of the park. That was
awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, Lindsey, speaking of knocking it out of the park, Lindsey is the number one in top small teams in California based on the 2023 Real Trends report. She's number 57 in America based on Tom Ferry's The 1,000 list of America's top real estate teams. She and her team of, get this, one other agent and some staff support for sure, but she and the one other agent are doing 130 to 140 units in 2024 and $160 million plus in sales volume. That's like a MicroTeam with MegaTeam results is what we talked about before we came on, Lindsey. And man, I can't wait to learn from you today. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's start out just telling us about you, your role. I mean, you must have a lot of roles in the organization, but then at the same time, it sounds like you have really figured out how to run a fine-tuned business. So tell us about your backstory before real estate, how you've evolved in real estate, and what your role looks like today on your team.
Absolutely. So I'm based in San Luis Obispo, as you mentioned, which for people who are not familiar with California, Oprah claimed San Luis Obispo to be one of the happiest towns in America. So we're about halfway between San Francisco and LA. So we're kind of a smaller college town. We've got a university locally. We've also got the beach, wine country. And so we've got hiking and hills and mountains. So we've got a really unique area of California. And so I was actually a Cal Poly student. So Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is our state college. And so having grown up in Northern California, I got into Cal Poly, was super stoked and excited to move here, got a degree in psychology. And as a part of that process, I actually became an AmeriCorps member, which is sort of what they call the Domestic Peace Corps. And so as part of my senior project and internship, I started volunteering at a nonprofit, which will probably be familiar to most listeners, called Big Brothers Big Sisters. Oh, wow. And so I graduated college at 21. And I had this AmeriCorps internship, 20 hours a week. They give you a living stipend, and that's how they get away with paying you actually less than minimum wage. But I loved being here, and I was really excited to be able to use my degree to make a difference in the local community. And so as a part of that, I had a lot of free time. The nonprofit was able to support me 28 hours a week, but I didn't really have a lot else going for me. And so I needed to find something to supplement this stipend. And a board member was a real estate agent. I knew very little bit about real estate, but this was back in 2008. And so he said, well, if you're looking for some extra hours, we need someone to stuff flyer boxes with the real cheap, ugly old flyers that people used to do, and actually take pictures of his listings with like one of those Canon digital cameras. The younger people probably won't even know what that is. So I got an internship in this real estate office, and every day was an interesting day. Those were the days of REOs. I remember the first time I walked into a house and was attacked by sand fleas and had to stop the showing and run home and take a hot shower. So it was very humble beginnings. But once I sort of got a taste of real estate, I thought, okay, this sounds like a good way to continue my career.
I love that. I love that. So bring us along from 2008, dusting off the sand fleas, to now in 2024 being the number one top small team in California. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so I kind of started as an intern, and then a colleague got laid off, and then I became the listing coordinator for this agent, and then the escrow coordinator. And then we started getting busy. I sort of helped him build his company back up from the recession. And then the buyer's agent at the time moved to Nashville for family. And then he's like, okay, well, now you're the buyer's agent, the escrow coordinator, and the listing coordinator. I said, okay. And so I left there in about 2018. So it was a good 10-year run. And in 2017, I had 113 buyer sales individually, so became a really strong buyer's agent. And I think what was great about that is you just get to learn the inventory so well. You literally know every single neighborhood, every single house, and you really get the knowledge of properties, values, areas. And so that was a 10-year building block. And so in 2018, made the decision to kind of go out on my own and kind of start all over again. And I think the nice thing about working with buyers, I always tell agents getting into the business, is buyers become sellers. And so I now had this huge following of folks. Again, living in a small town, word of mouth starts to go a long way. And so started the Lindsey Harn Group in 2018, transitioned to doing buyers and listings. And then I think in 2023, we actually bought our own building. And so have a office building in the heart of downtown. And I always joke, I'm like, the sign may change, but I am never moving again. I am here for good. And I've had a really fun journey getting to this point.
I love that. I love that. So tell me about your role on the team, kind of the staff that you have and your role. I mean, in 2017, 113 buyer sides. That's incredible for one agent. I would say that there are an extremely limited number of people. There are relatively a lot of agents in the country who would still be considered absolute rock stars for doing 113 listing sides. Buyer sides, completely different. So tell us about today. I'm sure you learned a lot through that experience. Buyers become sellers is a big one of those. Tell us about today, how you've structured your team, what your role is versus what other specialized roles are on the team.
You got it. So I'm the listing agent, and I would say the team leader, although I realized recently I don't want to be the manager. So I'm hiring an operations manager to come in and sort of be my manager to help run and make everything smoothly from the office perspective. And then I work with my own clientele on buyers, and then have a buyer's agent, a showing assistant who will help with showings when myself or the buyer's agent are double booked. And then I've got 3 full-time staff. So a listing coordinator, sort of an office manager or buyer's coordinator, kind of a sales coordinator lead role, and then a full-time transaction coordinator who works only for our team. So those are sort of my staff wanting to sort of give back and remember where I started. We typically always have a runner, a college student who's maybe interested in getting into the real estate field, who can make copies of keys, run to the printer, take the dry cleaning in, all those little things, so that we can focus on really giving the clients excellent service. And so just last year, we even brought our sign guy in-house. And so now he's our logistics manager. So if he's installing the sign and we need batteries in a smoke detector, he sort of can be our in-house handyman as well as our sign and logistics guy. And so it seems like we're in a really good position and we've sort of got the right people in the right seats, which I think is always the struggle for a team leader and a team. And so feeling really good about where we are and where we're going.
So there's a lot there, and I want to dive deep on a bunch of it. What would you say is your superpower, Lindsey? As you grow, clearly you're still interested in growing the team and continuing to set records with the team. What's your superpower, Lindsey? What's the thing that you bring uniquely to the team that you don't see ever giving up or delegating?
So I always joke, I'm a matchmaker. And so I think what makes me so good at my job and why I'm able to complete so many transactions is it's like someone tells me what they're looking for, and all of a sudden I know of 3 off-market properties or 3 things that are coming on the market that's going to be a match for this person. So when I get a seller, I immediately start going down my list of who's a fit for this property. And so, of course, with clear cooperation, we put things out there, but I think I have this almost photographic memory where I'll remember somebody that called on a sign 2 years ago and says, if something ever comes up on Apple Orchard Lane, you call me first. And then I'll go, oh my gosh. And so I think I'm so efficient because I sort of have this like mini MLS matching software in my brain where I can literally call the buyer's agents, call that guy. I don't remember his name, Bob, Robert, whatever. He called on this. I can picture him in my head. Call that guy right now. I found his house. And so I think, knowing the market and really matching people up with the right house has sort of been my secret or superpower and definitely one of the keys to my success.
I love that. I love that so much. Now, as a small team with MegaTeam results, how do your future, Lindsey, do you continue to sell as many homes as you are on your own? Or do you have plans to build a team of more salespeople so that you can take a little bit of a step back from that if you want to?
Right. I've always struggled with this question, and I've got a lot of amazing friends who have 20, 30, 40 agents, and who actually step out at production. And I'm always like, the best way for me to lead and inspire the way my skills are set is to be in on the action. So I don't want to be the manager leading sales meetings and doing the raw. I'd like to find that person who can grow the sales force, train, inspire, mentor. And then I want to lead by example by saying, okay, look, I'm still going to be in the field, boots on the ground with you every day, out there talking to sellers, talking to buyers. And so for me, I always say the dream is when I retire, which, who knows when that'll be, my perfect thing is to work with like 100 A clients a year. So not the people that call you on Sunday and say, I think you left the light on, or I don't like what you did in the MLS. It's like reputation. They've hired me. I'm their person. We see eye to eye, and I get to really provide joy. They're not micromanaging. They know I have their best interests at heart. And to me, when you work with clients like that, which I'm fortunate, most of my clients still fit that box, it never feels like work. And so if I've got a good right hand that can answer the phones on Sunday when I want to take a day or go on vacation and support, I really do see myself in the trenches still. And that may change, but I'd say I have at least 10 more years of being in the trenches out there with boots on the ground and filling in a sales manager on the team who can really build the sales force. But to me, being the manager, it is not where my skills fit.
Yeah, sure. And that's so freeing. That message is so freeing to so many agents who have been told, well, if you want to build a highly productive team, a highly profitable team, you have to get out of production. The goal is to get out of production. And for some of us, it's just not, right? Like that would be taking away the piece of the business that you love the most. Now, having the option to have qualified, skilled team members that you can pass the business to when you want to take some time off or when you don't want to work weekends or whatever that is, you're giving a lot of people permission right now to do that. That's such a great model there. And so when it comes to leadership, you said the best way to lead or to inspire is I'm paraphrasing your words, but to do your own production, to be massively successful in your own production and let somebody else do the managing of the staff. But even then, leadership is hard, right? So leading other people, the team that you have, while it sounds like they're all rock stars, any of us who have been building teams for any period of time, it's been hard. And so why not just do the amount of production that, say, you and one assistant could do? And why be a team leader? Why is that important to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the demand for my services are more than I can handle myself and one assistant. And so why would I want people who want to work with me? Why would I not be able to help them because I'm too busy or I've reached capacity? And so I always want to be leveling up like the services I offer, the marketing tools, really wowing the clientele. And there's a demand for the services. So I want to make sure I've got the marketing people in the right chairs and all of that so that we can serve our community and serve our clients. And, the last thing you think of, you ask your friend, oh my gosh, I need a financial advisor. They go, okay, you call in, oh, we're not taking new clients. Oh, but Bob referred me. Well, yeah, we're full. And you go, wow, that's such a bummer. So why in the sales business, would I ever want to turn away qualified clients that meet my minimum expectations? Yes, of course, like everybody, you've got to have guidelines and standards where, you know what, this isn't fitting what I can provide. It's not a fit, and being okay to walk away. But I don't want to turn away great qualified people who want and need our services. And so having the right people to support me allows me to provide that better level of service and do a good job for my community. Are there days managing staff and managing other agents is difficult? Absolutely, because it's hard to imagine how come everybody's not as driven as I am. I can't, it's unfathomable. Like I wake up every day, the phone rings. Oh my gosh, a new client. I'm so excited. It's like Christmas morning every time the phone rings to get a listing appointment. And I go, wow, how come everybody else doesn't wake up this excited? But you have to realize there's certain personality types that fit certain roles. And I like being able to help the clients and get them the results that they're looking for.
Well, clearly you've done a great job at that. And when I look at trends, people we interview on this podcast and other people that I've mastermind with, the best of the best are always the ones who start with that client first attitude. What I heard you just say was, I can't imagine saying we're full, we don't have time, I can't help you, to somebody who came with the value of a referral from someone else that you worked so hard for. And so you're requiring yourself to level up and do the work. And wow, what a great message. So it is hard. You kind of nodded to that a little bit, where there's some hard days. The last 3 years of real estate, there's been some challenges for all of us in that, right? 23 had, the numbers came in not too long ago that 2023 total sales in the U.S. were below 2008 total sales in the U.S. It goes all the way back to the early 2000s since volume was that low. 2024 is showing a slow recovery to that. But our last 3 years, there've been some brutal issues and situations that team leaders have had to deal with. Tell me about a challenge that you've had, like very specifically a challenge that you've had in the last 3 years, and tell me what the opportunities that you see out of that are also.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of joke, it's stressful to be really busy and have so many escrows and so many clients and so many listings that you're managing, but it's way more stressful to have 0 listings, 0 clients, and all of that. So, you choose your stress. And so I think mindset is so important. I'm pretty much media free, so I don't watch the news. The lenders text me what happened with the rates, and I go, there are people that need our help. There are buyers that need to buy. There's sellers, regardless of their situation, divorce, death. There's always reasons people have to move. And I think the key to success is really just keeping your mindset right. And I've had a couple of those days where I go, gosh, maybe I should just quit. This deal fell apart, this person happened, this other agent is like threatening to sue me over something totally crazy. And I think just keeping your emotions between the line and having a strong why and a strong mindset, so that when you have these bad days, and we all have them, myself included, you have a positive podcast, a good book on Audible, and something to bring you back. And I think I've been fortunate since I got in the business is I'd say most of my best friends are all in real estate, and they're all around the country. And so when I've had one of those days, I'm like, should I quit and, go into selling, ads at the grocery store or whatever? I'm like, I think I'm done. And you have these friends and you have these people that are one phone call away that go, oh my gosh, that's happened to me. Here's how I'd handle it. And they just bring you back to home base. And so I think real estate can be very lonely. And so it's so important that you connect with podcasts like this and other like-minded professionals that can bring you back to a positive mind space when you've been kind of dragged through the trenches that day.
Lindsey, you could write a book on that answer alone. There was so much gold in there. I was in a mastermind not too far from you compared to where we are on the East Coast in Lake Tahoe. Oh, yeah. And somebody said in the room, if you're not thinking about giving it all up and quitting real estate and going to work at McDonald's at least once a month, then you're probably not doing enough. You're probably not pushing hard enough. And so many great tips there on keeping your mindset right, being media free, making sure that you're listening to the right stuff that's filling your brain, making sure that you're making friends in the industry. Such good stuff. So, leaders prepare others for the future, right? So what do you see in the future after this brutal 3 years? What do you forecast for the market, but specifically for your team as far as the challenges and the opportunity over the next 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're fortunate that we'll probably still be able to continue to capture market share. I think with all these changes, it's a much tougher time to get into real estate than it's ever been. With all the new rules and forms and protocols, I think a lot of, I call them part-time agents, but maybe they're full-time who do a part-time business. They used to be a buyer's agent and just kind of randomly take their friends around on the weekend. It was easy breezy, no commitment. And now that you have to sit down with a client and have a value proposition, I think a lot of the part-time agents who have great personalities that can kind of build rapport with a client, I think they're going to have a hard time continuing with the new set of rules. So I think the industry will shrink a little bit in size. I think transaction count, we may have a couple more years where the transaction count is down. I mean, I would love to say next year we are going to have 250 transactions under our belt, but I think we probably won't. And so prepare, save, prepare that every month may not be better than the last. I mean, for so long, from 2015 to 2022, it was just every year was better and better. Income, sales price. And I think times there could be some downtimes going forward. I don't think the market's crashing, but there could be fewer sales. And so, prepare for the worst. And then when things get hot, be there and make hay while the sun shines. And so I think we're kind of preparing for things going a little bit slower than they have in the past. And I think also with that, there's tremendous opportunity to continue growing our market share, because now more than ever, the type of agent a consumer is going to hire, their skill set, their knowledge is so much more important than it was 2 years ago when, like I said, you could meet Sally Lou at an open house. Oh my gosh, she's so nice. She'll be my agent. Those days, I think, are gone.
That's so good. They are not only is the profile of the agent and what the consumer's expecting becoming different, but the requirement of the agent to be able to articulate that value proposition is just so important. And yeah, you can't just pick up an open house. Could still be a great lead generator, but it is only going to be a great lead generator for people who are great at articulating their value as a buyer agent. Do you, and I kind of made a statement with that. Do you agree with that? Do you think that buyer agency is going away with all of these changes? Or do you just think the pool of buyer agents is going to be smaller because they have to be more professional going forward?
I don't think the buyer agent's going away. There's always going to be consumers that want their representative to educate them on the neighborhood. I mean, as a real estate salesperson, yes, our goal is to get them in the home, but somebody relocates for a job. They need healthcare. They need to know where their kids should go to school. They need an ambassador to welcome them to the community. And so I don't think the buyer's agent is going away, but I think the quality of the buyer's agent will increase and the number of buyer's agents in a whole will decrease.
That makes perfect sense. I couldn't agree more. So I want to rewind a little bit to what you started out with before you got into real estate, because I have a feeling that it influences your motives and your mission in real estate. First of all, the psychology degree, no better degree to have if you're going to be in real estate. We are very much in a people business, and the psychology degree, I'm sure, has been some help to you.
100%.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the AmeriCorps start that you had. Did I get that right, AmeriCorps?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the start in really a start in your career working for a nonprofit that is designed to help people in need, for sure. And so how does that translate, and how have you carried that forward? Has any of that same heart for working with people in the nonprofit, how does that translate into your for-profit and the impact that you desire to make?
Yeah, so Big Brothers Big Sisters, where I was at my AmeriCorps position, it's a mentoring organization. So they take, children who may not have a stable mother or father figure, they just need extra support, and they match them with an older mentor in the community to provide them support, to provide them a different path forward. And so I think when I came to the crossroads and I had to give up my feel-good job of making a difference in the community or getting into a for-profit business, real estate. And I mean, it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made because I was so torn, and I loved both. And I made a commitment to my bosses at that time, who I was crying that I was going to have to stop doing my work at Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm like, you know what? If I can do well enough in a for-profit, then I will always be able to give back to the nonprofit. And I remember that I would not be here today if my bosses didn't give me this free internship through my psychology major that literally catapulted my entire career. And so there's not a day that doesn't go by that I can't say this is where I started. And so giving back to our community is so important, and it's something we do constantly. A lot of people ask, why did I join Christie's? We have a 1% for good. So 1% of every commission goes into this fund, and we're able to give out grants throughout the year to different nonprofits in our community that need our support. And then, whether it's volunteering at nonprofit events, supporting the community, whether it's through our fund or just on my own, it's just, I feel I was so fortunate to get this opportunity to do what I love, to make a substantial income, that why wouldn't I want to give that back by mentoring other agents, going to coffee and telling someone how to get into the business, and then supporting these great organizations for children or youth that maybe didn't have a great childhood and they just need that one person to take them and show them you can be successful too. And just because at home you may not be getting enough positive messaging, here are other ways you can succeed. And so I think community, we all live here. Let's have a great community and support these people that need our help.
I love that so much, Lindsey. There are a lot of us, as we look at real estate, a lot of times we get into real estate and we think, well, hey, I'm going to make a lot of money so that I can pack it away and then go do something good, like work for Big Brothers Big Sisters or any other meaningful nonprofit. And I think that the message that a lot of us miss is that we have a role and a calling with the influence that we've been given through our business, that we've worked hard for sure, but the influence that we've been given to be able to have an even larger impact than we could working as an individual in that nonprofit. And of course, we all, no matter who you are, where you're from, or what you do, we all have equal value, infinite value as people, right? However, economic value to the nonprofit, would you say that you're able to make a bigger impact with Big Brothers and Big Sisters and have that nonprofit do more good work through the role that you're in now versus the role you were in when you were serving there?
100%. Because now I've built the resources where I can give back to them in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do as one person. And so, we make these donations off every home sale, and I used $75 of closing. I would donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's since 2008. They just awarded me last year. I've given $100,000 in $75 increments, and you don't know. You just take it off the top, and you never realize every little piece, every little financial support. It's making an incredible impact, and they're able to help more bigs and littles succeed, and that keeps them out of jail when, like these mentorships can totally change the trajectory of someone's life. And I can do way more working in my real estate business and providing financial support than actually working or volunteering there. And I think it's important for people. Probably one of the best books I read this year was called Die with Zero. And there's this old school mentality of, well, when I die, I'll leave 10% to charity and 10% to my stepkids. And, you go down this road, but why not see the impact of your funds today? And why not allow that organization while you can see the impact? And so I think there's a lot of people that say, well, eventually when I hit this amount, then I can start giving back. And start small and see what the impact can make. Like I just said, $75 a transaction, and all of a sudden you've hit six figures of support for your community. And so just never underestimate starting now and seeing how that can grow, and you get to reap the rewards by living in the community.
That's so good. So good. So let's talk about the impact on something else that's really important to most of us, which is family, right? This is a crazy business. If you're doing as much production as you are as the agent, there's got to be a struggle to balance. Around here, we call it what's valuable, your business, versus what's priceless, your family. And tell me about what you have in place to balance that. And when you're getting it right, we don't always get it right, but tell me about when you're getting it right. What are the things that you're doing to balance those two things well?
So I got it wrong for so many years, and I think it's important to acknowledge that. I'd say for the first probably 7 years in my real estate career when I was a buyer's agent, I missed friends' birthdays. I didn't go on vacation. I mean, I was grinding 60 to 80 hours a week and really not making a lot of time for joy, family, friends, etc. And I think it paid off, and now it's just time blocking. I'm going to book my vacations. I'm going to tell my team. I'm going to schedule dinner, schedule tennis. Okay, this is my time. I'm blocking this into the day. Schedule date nights. Make these things a priority. And now I feel like I have the confidence to say, you know what, these are my days off. This is it. But guess what? I've got Dee Dee, I've got Melody, I've got XYZ who's going to take care of you today. And most of your clients go, oh my gosh, you only get one day off a week. Of course, we'll text you if you need you. You have a great time. And so I think in the beginning, you're scared to set boundaries because you think this could all go away. And then the power of building success is having a schedule, using time blocking, and making your non-negotiables. And it gets easier. I think it actually gets easier. And use a calendar and block your time out and make sure you're enjoying your life. Because I can tell you, I was grinding and I was missing out on important things. And now I'm in a position and have enough maturity to go, that's not my life I want to live anymore. And this is how I'm going to set my life up for success and to make sure I'm taking care of the people and making memories and enjoying life and still having a thriving business.
That's so strong, Lindsey. So strong. You do have to kind of earn your way there first, and maybe we could all do better. But I just love the guardrails that you have in place, the willingness to schedule what's most important, so that you can be massively successful in your business. Tell me about what you see as both your personal legacy and your team's legacy. What are people going to remember? What do you want people to remember about Lindsey if you hit that 10-year horizon and you back down from real estate? What do you want people to remember about the Lindsey Harn Group? And then what do you want your personal legacy to be?
Yeah, I think what's important for everyone to know is I didn't come from a real estate family. There was no golden ticket. Nothing was handed to me. And I think what I would want the next generation or anybody listening to know is that I'm not the smartest. I'm not the prettiest. I'm not the brightest. I mean, I didn't have a lot of things going for me, but I was willing to work hard and figure things out and, be a positive, pleasant person in the process. And so I think you don't need a BMW or a fancy car. You need nothing to start and succeed. And so I would just want to remind people from all different walks of life, this could be your journey too. And maybe it's real estate, maybe it's mortgage lending, maybe it's starting a beautiful nonprofit, but you just have to be determined to start. And even though that there's challenges on the way, if you're determined and you're willing to work hard, all of this is possible. And so I would just want people to know this could be, if this is something they're inspiring to do, it's totally possible. And get a coach, get a mentor, listen to these podcasts, and surround yourself with people who will support and believe your dreams. And this is possible for everybody if that's what you want. And if not, what you want is possible, and you don't have to have a fancy degree, a fancy car, a wealthy family. You don't have to have any tools except the mindset and the work ethic to go after what you want.
I couldn't think of a better way to wrap up the content for this podcast than that inspiration right there, Lindsey. I do want to ask you one quick question that we try to ask everybody on the show, and that's, what are you reading and listening to right now? Because as you talked about before, but clearly from where you are from a mindset perspective, you've invested a lot in your mindset. So tell us about what you're reading or listening to right now.
Right now, I'm listening to Audible. It's Unreasonable Hospitality, and I love it. I can't put it down, and it's just a great story. And again, I think it applies across so many different industries. So if it's not on your reading list, I would definitely add it too.
I couldn't agree more. We got to see the authors speak this summer, and we now have a 90-day rock to implement unreasonable hospitality in our own team. And so, yeah, that's fantastic.
Well, let me know when I can come shadow you when it's all set up.
That sounds good. That sounds great. That sounds great. Well, listen, thank you, Lindsey Harn, for joining us on the show. What gold you have delivered today. Tell us, if people want to follow up with you, where can folks find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, just at Lindsey Harn, or go on my website, lindseyharngroup.com, and would love to connect. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, all those fun things.
Love it. Love it. Well, we're super grateful for your time investment and super excited to see you and your team crush those goals and make an impact and leave a legacy. Thanks for being here, Lindsey.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on another episode of the MegaTeam Mastermind. I hope you found some nuggets of wisdom that you can use to leverage your real estate team to make an impact and to build a legacy. A huge thank you to our incredible guest and, of course, to our sponsor, MegaTeamMentor.com, where you can get a free detailed assessment of your real estate team's health, including a free customized scorecard that will quickly and objectively diagnose the strengths and weaknesses of your real estate team business. That's MegaTeamMentor.com for your free real estate team health assessment. If you enjoyed the show, I would consider it a personal favor if you would subscribe or leave us a review so that we can get this podcast out to others who want to make an impact and leave a legacy. I hope you'll tune in to our next episode for more leadership insights, strategies, and stories of success and failure. Until then, this is John Tiller, and as always, I'd like to speak an ancient blessing on you as we go. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.